Well, there was a range of fundraising, and Sue and I were talking about it earlier this morning. And yes, it was fundraising, but it's hard to comprehend now. But they were equal social events, and everyone really enjoyed going on them. Everyone volunteered to go on them, but it was as much having fun and having a social get together as it was of raising money. On one occasion, we got sponsorship from Coca-Cola, and we carried a surf boat on our shoulders from Perth to City Beach in the city to surf.
But it brought people together, and the biggest thing that we ran was the City Beach Fair, which is sort of equivalent to like a school fete, I suppose, what you used to have in those days, you know. I did the plant stall. There was plant stall and hot dogs and donuts, and we did that for 3 years on Jubilee Park, and that was it was quite a big community thing. A lot of community people involved, and we raised quite a lot of money.
Fondest memories of the club when I was young, and sort of in the, I don't know, in the 10 to 14 bracket was the fundraising activities that the club used to do, and they were so, which they're archaic now, but it goes back to like the bottle drive and stuff like that, and we used to run a fair across the road on Jubilee Park, and I always remember Dad was in charge of the donut cooking machine or something, and we'd be helping out. But you know, they were great memories back then, where you know the club just banded together. You know, it was all about raising money for the club. It was important, but just the camaraderie and just the groups, every group of the club coming together to just raise money, was some really good memories out of that.
It was a jungle party where we had, one of the things that we had that we were selling from the bar was just like a punch, you know, of jungle juice or something. So we actually had a big plastic rubbish bin, which we bought a brand new one, not one that had been used for rubbish. Filled it up with, you know, all the different drinks and mixed and bits of fruit floating in it and watermelon and fruit juice and all the stuff to make this jungle punch stuff, and then we'd sell it for like $1 a cup, just in plastic cups over the bar, and the stuff just went and people were drinking it and getting smashed and all the rest of it. And I remember at about, I don't know, it's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was Greg True who was behind the bar, and he'd helped us put all this together, and about 2 o'clock in the morning he beckoned me over and said, "Hey, come and have a look at this." And we went out the back into the back room, the storeroom of the bar, and all the bottles of spirits that we'd got to put into the punch were all still sitting there on the shelf, because we got so carried away with cutting up fruit and putting in orange juice and lemonade and all these other bits and pieces that we actually forgot to put any of the alcohol in. So we were selling this stuff all night for $1 a cup, and people were lapping it up, and there was absolutely no alcohol in it whatsoever. It was just fruit juice and nothing else.
Through connections, we got involved with some major rock bands in Perth, and the two biggest performers were, and I think some of them are still around, Colleen Hewitt and Sherbet. And we advertised it, that it was going to be at the club rooms, and we're talking the previous one. And but it was so successful we just had to stop. The first night there was probably 5,000 people turned up. The hall was jammed, the beach was jammed, the road was blocked, the police panicked, and the hall was overflowing. They were coming in through the door where we were getting them, they were climbing over the boat shed roof, they were swarming everywhere, and there were hundreds and hundreds all packed, absolutely packed outside. So we ran 2 or 3 of those, and then we got the message in a nice way from both the local Wembley police and the council that it was a bit over the top and was getting to the stage of being totally uncontrollable. So we had to stop, but there was never any damage, although a few times I thought the front door and the whole front of the building was going to be pushed in. But there was no vandalism, there was no nastiness, there were no fighting. It was just young people really wanted to see these particular people, and you know, we were making couple of $1,000 cash at least every night. So every half hour there'd be someone who'd go away with bucketfuls of notes and to the local bank to deposit it. And that was all through the night. You know, a couple of guys would disappear with a bag or a bucket full of money and deposit it back, and more money would go. So it was an overwhelming thing. But that was the fundraising, because I'm talking 70s, and there just wasn't the sponsorship that was there today.